Have you ever wanted to learn how to make bannock? Hi, my name is Georgette. Today we are going to make baked bannock. My recipe consists of 3 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of sugar, 1/3 cup of oil, lard, or shortening, whatever you prefer, and 3/4 cup of milk and 3/4 cup of water. You don't have to use the milk if you don't want to. You can use strictly water. And I like to use cold water. So we're going to get started by adding our 3 cups of flour into our bowl. I was taught how to make bannock from my mom, who was taught by her mom. And I love bannock. My kids love bannock, and I'm teaching them how to make it. So our next step will be 2 tablespoons of baking powder. I normally don't measure, but today I am just for the video. Half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of sugar, and then I'm going to mix this up. And then we are going to add 1/3 cup of shortening. So for this part, I use my hands. My hands are washed. I use them to mix up the shortening into the flour. It becomes a coarse mixture. So it should start looking like this. I just kind of squish it and rub it. It's fairly easy. You'll feel it by your hands. And then once that is mixed, we are going to add the milk and water. So I like to add half at first, just so that you can kind of mix it in a little bit. You want to make a well before you put the water in, because it will just kind of help it mix better. So as you're mixing, you'll notice that you'll need a little bit more. You might not need all of it, but if you don't, you just keep it on the side. Okay. So once it's mixed up, then we are going to take some flour, and we're going to just kind of sprinkle some on top and then add it to the counter. So when you add it to the counter, you're then going to take your bannock, and it's going to go out like this. So we're just going to make 1 bannock, and we're going to throw it in the oven. So you want to lift and push with your palm. So it's kneading. So when you knead the bannock, you don't want to knead it too much, because then it'll be super hard. So it looks like it's just about ready. So there you go. There's your kneaded bannock. All right, so now I just use my hand. So then you just punch it down. You can make your bannock thick, you can make it thin, whatever you prefer. I'm gonna make mine medium. So you punch it and you push it, kind of move it around. If it's a little bit sticky, just add a little bit of flour. So you want it to be, the thickness to be the same all over, so you don't have big parts of your bannock and little parts that'll burn. So this should be good. So we are going to take this piece of bannock and we're going to put it on our pan. So it should be pretty easy to lift. You don't have to put flour on your pan because if your bannock's not sticky, it'll be fine. It won't stick to the plate. It won't stick to your cookie sheet. Then it's important that you poke holes in it. The reason we poke holes is so that it doesn't puff up. You want a nice bannock, not a big round bubble. So then we're going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees and it's going to bake for about 20 minutes. Once it turns golden brown, then your bannock is done. And we will come back and show you when it's ready. See the color? It's nice and golden brown. All ovens are different. In my home oven, I like to flip it, but if you're cooking it at 400, you shouldn't have to. So now we're going to take this bannock and we're going to let it cool down. All you got to do is just throw it on the rack. I've mastered the flip. My bannocks are really big sometimes. Let it cool down here. If you don't have a cooling rack, you can stand it up against your fridge, stand it up a toaster. That's how I do it at home. Today we are at my work, so that's why we were doing it this way. But you use whatever you can. So we are done with our baked bannock for today. The bannock should be nice and soft. If it's not, don't worry, it's still edible. One of the things though I was taught and never to do was cut a hot bannock with a knife. It was like not something we were able to do because my mom would slap her hands. Just because what happens is if you cut it with a hot knife while it's hot, it'll get doughy in the middle. Trust me, it does. People say it doesn't, but it does. So I hope you had a fun and learning time. And if you have any questions, contact us at the Friendship Center or myself through Facebook or through Gmail. Have a great day. All done. I put some margarine and some jam. We're going to test it out. Good bannock.